today, right?
That's right. Without
Happy
these
birthday.
folks, we wouldn't be here.
Why are you wearing a Halloween shirt? Stand up. Yeah, you. This is what not to do on my birthday. And you've all heard me say this. I'm going to say it again. Real
Don't
men,
work.
we use a machete, not an Outback steak knife. What are you talking about, ma'am? You with him? You wearing the same shirt?
Okay, so gentlemen, welcome. I'm going to change some batteries here while I do this.
Yeah, we need some juice.
What are you doing with that shirt?
Oh, look who decided to show up. One more time, guys, one more time.
That seems fake.
Well, you missed the real one.
Who put you up to that, CJ?
Thank you.
Gentlemen,
Can
hey,
you figure out how to work that thing?
No. How do you
It's
work
called
the
a microphone. Hello.
well, happy birthday, Jason Voorhees is. It's your day today, right?
It is. It is, in fact, Jason's birthday, June 13th.
That's right? So it is actually the day. Happy birthday, boys. Okay, so to begin this panel, I want to go back to the very beginning of your, careers. I want to know, thank you, how Kane got involved in stunts, how you guys got involved in acting. Tell me from the beginning, what's it all about?
Oh, you want to start with me?
Yep. Yes, we do.
Working on the line.
Oh, wow. It's just all shock that this is all happening. It's a shock that the brand got where it is today. But I guess I'm in the beginning. I auditioned in New York for another part in the film, the John Fury part.
Is that right?
Yeah, I come
I
strapping
don't
in
even
there.
know if I knew that.
Yeah, I come in there and I'm thinking this and that, and it was Frank Mancuso and Steve Miner, and when I was really young, so you're just so excited, you're reading for anything. You don't care what it is, you know? And so, I don't know what happened. They obviously took him, and they asked me if I wanted to be Jason. I said, oh, sure, that's great. Oh, well, he's got to do a lot of stunts. That's no problem. We can handle those. I've been to Hollywood Stuntman School. I've been this, I've been that. And I don't know, then it sort of happened.
Yeah.
And then I got there, and yeah, it just got more complicated as we went.
I just wanted to be a stunt guy. I loved the idea of trying to make a living doing crazy stuff that I used to do for free to entertain my friends. And I just got obsessed with the idea of being a Hollywood stuntman. And it's incredibly hard to get into, and it takes forever unless you are what they call a legacy. If you have a family member that has done stunts in the past, it's a little easier for you to get into the business. I didn't have that, so it took forever. And then, as you know, I got burned doing a fire stunt. My first year as a professional stuntman, so not a great start. And that was a long recovery. And then, you know, as soon as I could, I went back. And I think I've talked about this some, but maybe not as much. If you ever used to remember the show Wonder Woman, the TV show with Linda Carter, that was my first job back after I got burned. I did a little stunt thing, very minor, but when you get burned, after you finally get out of the hospital, you wear something called jobst, which is like a support garment that keeps the scars from getting too raised. If you wear it constantly, it keeps the scarring a little more subdued or whatever, so it's less obvious.
A little more streamlined.
I guess it just keeps it flat. But you can, if you ever watched that episode of Wonder Woman, it was Wonder Woman at a convention, running through the convention. It was a sci-fi con, and she bumps into me, and I kind of take a little hit, very minor stunt thing, but you can see that I'm wearing that garment still, so it's interesting to look at that. I just looked at it recently. I hadn't looked at it for a long time, but as soon as I could, I got back into stunts and just was happy I was making a living doing stunts. And then John Beekler decided I should be Jason, and changed my whole career. And I wish he was still here.
CJ, how did you get involved in this crazy thing called acting?
I know Kane always gives me a hard time because I don't give myself enough credit. You got to give yourself more credit, but
You do.
I did my job. I was fortunate enough to run a nightclub, got an opportunity to play Jason. A company called Real Effects, REEL, worked with Ted White in Part 4, and they had done a stunt thing at the nightclub I worked, and they all said, well, let's put CJ in Ted White's wardrobe, similarities in structure. And when I say the rest is history, it is. They knew they were doing Part 6. Obviously, this was after Part 5. And when they said, we're going to cast you for Jason, I went, okay, yeah, right. Give or take 3 months later, I did do the auditioning process. I got to meet with Frank Mancuso Jr. and Michael Nomad, the stunt coordinator, and Tom McLaughlin, the director-writer. I didn't get the part. It was given to another stunt man, Dan Bradley. So the scene with the 3 paintballs or 4 paintballs, most people just assume I'm a little thicker than I am, or that I'm wearing padding. That was his first and only daily that came back, and they weren't satisfied with the profile.
Because he looked a little too heavy, right?
I call him thick. Okay.
Thick,
He's
yeah.
thick. I don't know the man. I would never say he's a little thicker than I. So he got booted after one daily came back. I got that phone call that I'm in now. Got fortunate because I didn't have the pleasure of going to any stunt school, but it's like if I was working for Kane, I know he's going to protect my ass. I had confidence in Michael Nomad. So when we did all the stunts, I'd never done them before. He just kind of walked me through the process. And even today when people talk about the stunts, and I didn't do a full fire burn, I just did my backside, but it was interesting watching the flames come over the back and in front of your mask.
But from someone that's done a lot of fire stunts, to have a guy like CJ do a fire stunt, that is very unusual and pretty impressive, because most stunt people are trained in doing fire. He had to just go by what Nomad had to say, and there was somebody else that was doing safety on it, I'm sure.
I'm sure there were other folks in it, but it was Michael just, he put me in this race car driver suit, put my wardrobe on, put some gel, which I couldn't tell you what it is, and said back up into the fire. Okay. When you see this come over, but that was one thing. But being 20 feet underwater, breathing off regulators, and I had a fan recently asked me, why didn't you have a breakaway chain? And I thought about that. It wasn't a breakaway. It was a real friggin' chain. They had me on top of 2 center blocks and it was screwed tight. So I would just signal for error, and they'd come in and pull my mask up. It's nighttime. But I think I'm very proud of what we did. I'm very proud of the results. I was very honored that Kane came right after us and kept the strength. I mean, a lot of you folks, when you heard what Kane said about doing funny things and stunts when he was young, YouTube would have loved him 30 years ago.
I was Jackass before they existed.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And it's a true statement when you think about it. I mean, there's your wild right there. But I was very fortunate, and I appreciate being part of the franchise and being here.
And let me just add that at the end of his movie, Part 6, being underwater, when I did Part 7, we had to recreate that for a brief time. So I did the exact same thing where I was tied to the bottom. Yours wasn't a diving pool though, right?
No, mine was an Olympic-sized pool, 20 feet deep.
Oh, it was.
A real Olympic-sized pool at UCLA.
Right, we did the same thing in a pool, but I had to recreate the end of his movie for the beginning of part 7. So I was cabled to the bottom of the pool for a couple hours at a time with a regulator, exactly the same thing, which is an odd thing to do because you have to breathe, and then when they roll the cameras, you give up your regulator and you're attached to the bottom of the pool with no breathing apparatus now. And they shoot the scenes and whatever little shots they're doing, and then in my case, a safety diver would bring the regulator back and I could breathe again. But I don't know how long you were underwater at one time, but I was under for a couple hours at a time.
Well, we shot ours through the entire night, so I never got out of the pool. The only time I got to go up was when they bring me up and we had these little tiny monitors that I could look and see what it looked like, and the director would give me instructions. My 2 safety divers would take me back down to the 2 center blocks, and then they put the chain around me, which was like weights to keep me down. And I would just signal, like he said, for air, and again, pitch black, so they would just lift my mask and clear the regulator. I mean, you know, at that point, like you're saying, it's, you know, if you're out of air and you're signaling, you don't have a lot of time left. So if they decide to leave your ass down there, you're in trouble, because there's no way you're gonna get unhooked, unscrew a chain, and
Yeah,
you're
no way.
freaking out. It's, you know, conservatively, 15 feet to the surface, you're over.
And when we did ours, I don't know if it was the same with yours. We haven't really talked about this all that much, but John Beekler was the director outside the pool, would speak on a microphone, and I could hear him perfectly underwater.
Oh, we didn't have that.
Yeah, he would
That's why I
tell
had to go up
me,
and do this with the little camera.
right, he would tell me what's gonna happen, and okay, we're ready to roll, and it was a lot more easy to do knowing that the director's talking to me the whole time.
And if the same thing when I would be down there, I'd go up every, give or take 15 minutes, watch, and he'd tell me, give me direction from above. So we didn't have the underwater, but as soon as I got down, and I could hear the clicking of the camera, and that was my indication it's running, kind of like, let's go. And then we go through the motion, and then again, when I was done, I was done. We just kept going back and forth and up and down and up and down. My safety divers had 1/4-inch suits on, wetsuits.
Yeah.
There was a point where they started complaining how cold they were. Now, I'm just in wardrobe, all right? But they're like, director's like, well, do you want to get out and get warm? And you all know that once your body gets down to a temperature, you don't want to get out and warm up. You want to just stay where you're at. So we finished. It was early morning when we finished. But I remember the divers, 1/4-inch wetsuits, and they're complaining they're cold. So.
And I remember at the beginning of, our underwater stuff was done in 2 days, and it was the last 2 days of shooting the film. The last 2 days of principal photography, where you're already exhausted from wearing the makeup and doing all the stuff, and then you had to do the underwater stuff. And at the beginning of part 7, I had to look like CJ did at the end of part 6. So I had gloves on that I never wore in part 7, but to establish that it was still kind of how he left the end of his movie, that was the wardrobe. And then time passes and the decay happens, and I don't have gloves on anymore and stuff. So it was, it's a lot more difficult than you would think.
We twins.
Wow.
We didn't have any of that technology in our part 2.
What was that, 82?
Oof.
Right?
I hate to date myself, but it's hard for me to even think about 82 anyhow. But we didn't have dailies, we didn't have monitors, you didn't have anything there. They were just shooting in 35 millimeter. They might have a camera with a Polaroid around the set, and they take a couple shots, say, oh, this is what it looks like. And then my most notable stunt, obviously, was blasting through the window. We probably did it 15 times. And we couldn't.
Is that your phone?
Warrington.
Get the frig off stage.
Let me have it for a second. I gotta check something on it.
That's all right. Anyway, we're going back.
And then you had no dailies to look at, so they wanted to make sure they did it 15 times, so they had it. And then you still never saw it.
You went through a breakaway window, I assume,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because most of the time
Well,
when you see somebody go through a window, it's breakaway. It's candy glass, they call it, which is not.
Well, no, this was thin plexiglass, and it was going in your skin all over the place. And the wood was scored a little bit, which means they cut it like halfway. And of course, when have I dove through a window before? Never. It's not something you normally do. But you're a good enough athlete, you got to figure it out. So I remember, you know, I took 3 steps and then boom, like that, like jumping a horse over a fence, because you had to time it, because you only had so much space to run with, because you're outside smashing in. So you had 3 steps. 1, 2, ah! And the first time I did it, I ricocheted off because I didn't hit it hard enough. But you know, if you've never done anything, then you don't know what to expect. And of course, I was so young. Well, how the hell am I going to tell Steve Miner? Yeah, I've been a stunt guy from Hollywood for 20 years. No, because I was
You know
only.
that's something you don't tell the audience, that you bounced off.
No,
We don't want to let them know that you was weak.
No, it doesn't matter.
Hit that window with force, it just shattered.
Hey, I'm happy and proud that they did a tribute to her at the Academy Awards, and that scene got an Academy Award with me as the best scene ever made in a horror film.
Wow.
So I'm done. That's it. No more windows.
No.
Thank you.
Stop with the fucking clapping.
Oh.
Best scene ever done in a horror movie?
Until 1983.
No. This was 3 years ago.
I'm quitting the business.
You stay out of that. 3 years ago, they did a tribute to
3
her.
whole years ago. Wow.
3 or 4 years ago.
Well, we
Okay.
must have missed that, brother.
But I'm gonna get it for you. I'm gonna get it for you.
And when you talk about breaking through what they call candy glass, it's not candy at all.
It's
but
plexiglass.
It's not plexiglass, it's breakaway glass.
Okay.
But if the window is too big, you cannot use candy glass or breakaway glass because it ends up having to be too thick, so it's not really adequate. So, like, if there's a shot in Jason Takes Manhattan where I forget what the door is, but it's a full-on glass door, and I walk through it and it just breaks as I hit it. That was real glass, and it had a squib on it, which means just as I hit the glass, the special effects guys would blow a squib and it would instantly shatter it. So it would appear that I'm shattering it, but it was actually done by an explosive device, and it's all real glass. So it makes it a little trickier for timing, but you can, if you watch it, that scene again, I forget what door it was, what I'm coming through, but you can see it just instantly shatters right before I hit it. And,
Glass
but-
door.
Yeah.
I got that.
Movie magic. Okay,
Unbelievable.
before we throw it to the audience, we gotta do some plugs. First of all, did you guys know there is a Jason Goes to Hell documentary? It's actually getting premiered tonight in Los Angeles. The director Adam Marcus made a documentary featuring all you Jason Goes to Hell people, and I can't wait to see it.
Oh, Hearts of
Darkness, yes, Hearts of Darkness. Secondly, we have an author here, right? We've got his brand new book today, also premiering. Bloody Social Murder in Palm Beach, a novel based on a true story. Can you talk about this?
Okay, this wasn't thought of yesterday. It's been a long time in development. My friends and supporters have been hearing about it, been supporting me through the way. Bill, Phil Pud, CJ. Unfortunately, my father was having lunch with his bitch of a wife, my stepmother, on Friday the 13th. Another Friday the 13th. And I don't know why, she had this sketch pedophile priest at the table. The 3 of them for lunch. Then I get the call, he had lunch and dropped dead. So then I'm the kind of guy to say, well, excuse me, what the hell was in the lunch? I get down on the scene, I'm investigating, and the worst thing in your life is to lose a parent. And I'm sure you all can understand what I was going through. Anyway, I had a big investigation as to what happened. She went, of course, to the Côte d'Azur with her new Latin lover. And then I started making my complaints known to the media. It became a national scandal that I accused my stepmother of murdering my father. So then all of these suspicions got parlayed first into a screenplay. Now we're having readings on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and I thought that we had enough power to make an indie film. Okay, great. This time Jason is going to get revenge for the death of his father. So he's going to be a sympathetic vigilante you're going to root for, that he's going to get revenge for his father. Because we're sitting here signing all this fantastic memorabilia. I kill for mommy, I kill for mommy. And we've gone through this journey for 45 years. So anyway, long story short, I said, listen, before we make a movie or a Netflix series, let's launch the novel. So the novel is premiering now, Friday the 13th at Days of the Dead. And it's here, okay? And this time, revenge is not just a dish served ice cold. It's going to be served dripping in diamonds and blood. Yeah.
And you have those for sale on your table, yeah?
And it's in the table, so this is really cool. This is the first 50 that are made, so it'd be really cool. I see a fabulous young man over here. He got a book. Really inspiring. Got to write a book and meet you, and you come and buy the book. Anyway, it's a fantastic novel. I firmly believe in it. It wasn't just thought of. And I think for sure the Jason friends and fans, we can make this a bestseller.
Yeah.
And in the world, I'm not, thank you. I'm not the expert, but I've been told if you could sell 3,000 or 4,000 books, you become New York Times bestseller. And then we make it a big indie film. and I would love to find some Jasons to put in it.
And
I need some qualified stunt guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CJ mentioned that Kane has a book out too, right?
You gotta make this. We got to make this a success. Come on.
I'll be your dad.
Come on. Yes. Yes. And you know, you'll notice on the front of the book there, the Black Widow is looking stunning.
Pam can be your stunt
Whoa.
guy.
I thought it'd be great to have her in the shot, naked in diamonds, you know. Now she's holding up the pink oleander flower under her chin. The oleander is the most poisonous flower on the planet. If you ingest it, you die. So we believe the Black Widow gave her husband an oleander cocktail, and there he goes.
Well, okay.
Wow.
Well, okay, so there's all kinds of
So
fantastic...
buy his book.
Well, whatever, come take a look at it, and if you think it amuses you, and you might learn something, because there's a lot of research. You can't talk about something unless you're an expert. There's Greek mythology in it, the dog is a hero, and it's based on a true story.
So,
Guys, and we got to create, we are so blessed and lucky to be in this brand, Friday 13th, that's had legs like none other than James Bond. So my dream was to create my own brand. I've been on the coattails of another brand for a long time. And why wouldn't you do a brand, Revenge for Your Father? Why wouldn't you? And we have incredible fans. Look at you guys. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here.
that's
Look
true.
at this.
That's true.
Come on. Why we can make a book a bestseller?
Many loyal fans.
Come on.
All right. Well, we're going to get the word out, right, guys? Okay. So I do want to be able to get to at least one or two audience questions. Who's got them?
Right there. Yes, you. Yes, you stood up. Stand up. Yeah.
A little movie unrelated, just out of curiosity for all three of the Jasons. I'd like to know where you were born and raised. Where'd you grow up?
Seattle, Washington, 51 years ago when the military never went back.
Washington?
Washington.
Yeah, I don't say Washington, it's Washington.
Okay. Kane,
I-
where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in the South Pacific, but I was born in Auburn, California.
I was born in a town above Baltimore called Haverty Grace, Maryland. So I kind of was born and raised out in the quiet countryside above Baltimore.
How do you say it? No, I'm
Baltimore? Haverty
No,
Grace? Haverty Grace, Maryland?
that's how you say it, huh?
Haverty Grace.
Washington.
No, I'm not trying to be funny because it's a French name, really. Right?
Yeah, happy to gross. Happy to grow.
Interesting. You think you know how to pronounce a city until you go there and you say it and the locals correct you.
Exactly.
Like, don't go to Peabody, Massachusetts. It's Peabody. And there's so many places.
I was in Louisville, Kentucky last week, and before I was on stage, I had to do a little video.
And you said Louisville?
No,
Louisville.
I asked, how do you pronounce it before I say it? Because those folks from Kentucky, they carry guns. So I had my handler tell me how to specifically say it before I said it. So.
Louisville.
And don't say Nevada if you go to that state.
Washington.
But this is for all three Jasons. While playing Jason, so in your respective Friday movies, was there ever a stunt that maybe didn't go so well, or one that gave you the biggest challenge? I know we talked about the water, so maybe besides the water.
If you don't mind,
Yep.
I was too dumb and naive to know the difference between anything that was terrifying. Then I just knew that every time they set me on fire, I got more money. No, really. I learned what a stunt bump was when I did that, because all of a sudden I got more money. If I was, learning what I know now, I'd have a breakaway chain under the water. I had no idea. I didn't think about it, but when you're really, 28, 29, you really don't. I didn't, because I hadn't been through the professional schooling that, you know what's good and bad.
Couple things that happened that weren't really that bad, but a little unexpected, like in part 7 where the roof is released on top of me and on the front porch of the cabin, whatever, and the whole roof comes down and smashes me. And I said, well, that's all practical. I don't want 2x6s and plywood and everything hit me in the head. So I had the special effect, or the construction guys make the middle 6 feet of the roof out of balsa, but it was all connected to real wood, so that didn't do shit. And when the roof came down, I thought, oh God, when this hits me, I'm gonna have to pretend to really get slammed, because it's balsa. No. That thing hit me and drilled me into the fucking stairs so hard that I was like, I don't think the balsa did anything. Because it was all connected to real stuff, and it was like a 25-foot roof. And the whole thing came down at once. So it's just, little things like that surprise you sometimes, but.
Yeah, I can't, because I was young, and if they had a serious stunt they didn't want me to do, then, I wouldn't have the danger of that. The only stunt for me that went wrong was a nightclub in New York asked me to come out when one of the Freddy versus Jason, I guess, was getting released. So they said, oh, we want you in your costume. You walk out on the stage and you hold an axe up in the air. And that's sort of the scene. And oddly, the stage was a crucifix. Big nightclub in New York. Obviously, they had something crazy before me. It was a fashion lingerie show, so the crowd was out of control. Then I come out, and they're announcing the launch of the movie, and the mask I had as Jason shifted, and somebody grabbed the axe out of my hand and split me with, look. It came down and split my hand wide open, and the blood's flying out, and the thing had shifted, and I said, this is insane. I'm getting hurt as Jason in this goddamn thing. How in the hell could this happen? And yeah, this is not good.
And speaking of injuries, there is one of us up here that you probably already know, but one of the three of us was actually a Chippendales dancer. And I'll give you a hint, it was not me.
He's a hoochie.
Who do you think it was?
Yeah.
Yep, CJ. Chippendales motherfucking dancer and Jason. That's amazing.
Yeah.
CJ, I did want to ask you, do you ever have any Chippendales photos that you take with us?
So you good-looking guys that like men, go ahead and pull up Google, put CJ Graham Chippendales, and see what pops up.
We've all done it.
You were wearing that slingshot outfit? outfit?
Banana hammock.
Your slingshot thong? I don't know what
Cuffs
it
and
was.
collars. But you know what?
You all can laugh, but this is a fact. I'm the only person in the world, male, that can actually say I was with Chippendales in '87, Culver City, and in 2006 I opened up the Playboy Club at the Palms in Las Vegas, because you were there and visited me. So I opened up the club and had Playboy bunnies working for me. So anybody else know anything about cuffs and collars? I do.
Did they have a champagne room, a back room, you know?
No, I mean, it was a class act. I mean, it was really the bunnies. We went down to the Playboy Mansion and interviewed ladies, and then taught them how to deal roulette and 21, and they had to fit in their wardrobe, and they had to go through bunny training, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I mean, I can honestly say I'm the only person in the world that had bunnies working for me, and I wore cuffs and collars myself.
What did bunny training consist of back then?
No, really.
No, I want to know what it was though.
It's about almost 100 pages. These girls had to go through extensive training of how to carry themselves, doing makeup, no tattoos.
Anal.
They really, it's like in the old days in the 60s, your stewardess had to go through training to be an airline stewardess. They went through a lot of it. It wasn't weight, it was weight, inches, and the size. They took into consideration muscle mass. And then every 3 months, the bunny mommy from the mansion would come out, who had been with you for give or take 40, 50 years, and talk to them, inspect them, make sure they're looking properly, make sure their hair was of certain colors. Of all the give or take 30 girls that were dealers, there was different blondes, brunettes, roulette. And when somebody would leave, the next girl would have to come in a certain color. I mean, they actually picked the color of the hair. So it was extensive.
Yeah.
I do have some film available as to what he looked like at that time, because when I first met him, we were invited to be on, I guess, Good Morning America, and it was up to part 6 of Friday the 13th. So they invited all of the Jasons in the morning. Who was it, Joan London? She had us all on there interviewing us, and I still have the film tape from that. So we should play it at a Days of the Dead event.
We should.
He had a feathered hairdo, like the hair was, it was like, almost like Farrah Fawcett's hair.
He was a very pretty man.
He had a Farrah looking like this, coming down long. And he had his lizard boots on, I believe.
No, I don't do lizard boots.
They were python, alligator.
I want to ask you this: why does he understand so much detail about something from 45 years ago?
Because you were naked.
Because it's you.
Because it's you, and it was
He's
that
infatuated
Chippendale
with you.
era. That I have reflection
And
on.
you had a banana hammock, and that was it.
Banana hammock and that hair. He had Farrah Fawcett hair.
He was in a suit and tie. He had a pin behind his tie, and he was totally a stockbroker.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it'd be great if Jason went to Wall Street. That's right. I walked right down there with a meat cleaver, and I walked right in 14 Wall. I was there.
This panel's going south real fast, right?
That's all right because we're almost done. Okay.
Well, you know,
So
they
wait,
like your diversity, you know?
Chippendales
Chippendales,
dancer,
the Wall Street.
Wall Street, and
Fire
I was on
background.
unemployment. But yeah,
I saw you at Half South. What were you doing up there?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so to wrap us up, I'm going to close this out with Kane because I didn't get to him because we were talking so much about Warrington's book. But Kane, you had a book, right? Which we wanted to talk about. CJ tried to plug it, so we're doing that now. We talked about Hearts of Darkness. We talked about Bloody Social. Now let's talk about your book. What was the process of getting this book together and getting it out?
you know, Mike Aloisi approached me and said, I think you have an interesting story. We should write a book about it. And I was like, oh, I really never thought about it. But when I started considering the idea, I thought, well, it is kind of a different story with the burn injury, and I had some bullying problems when I was young, and you know, and then the stunt career, and then the Jason stuff. I said, all right, all I did was tell my story, and he put it in book form, and then we did a second version. As you know, the first one was called Unmasked. The second version was 10 years later called Kill, and it had a lot more career stuff in it for those 10 years, and then certain things that were not included in the first book, like the woman that was with me when I got burned never wanted to talk about it. She finally did. And the woman whose house we went to wait for the ambulance after I got burned never wanted to talk about it either, and she did. So that's part of the reason we did the second version, and it's far more encompassing in my life. And you know, I'm happy I did it because a lot of people have related to a lot of stuff in it, and it's been very rewarding.
All right.
Everyone, buy his book. Buy his book. What can we plug for you?
He still has
Some
it.
Chippendales autograph photo, sir. I'm just saying. The ladies are wanting it, right?
Who wants to see CJ naked? Come on.
Why are you clapping your hands, dude?
He's got money there.
I love it.
Open your pants. Let him put it in there.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. Happy
Thank you for
anniversary.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Wow. And Bobby Sosa, Murder in Palm Beach is ready.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I'll let you sit.
Is that one? Come here, Chippendales. Warrington, get in there.
Come on, Chippendale.
Which, I'm right behind the phone. You take this one.
Okay.
Ready?
Slingshot. Here we go. 1, 2. We're gonna get a couple here because the lighting's so dim. So hang on. Oh, it's taking.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's just taking a long time to process.
All
Now
right,
one
good.
with his phone.
All right.
One with mine. I'll send it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, his is quicker. Okay. All right.
He's got like a $19,000 phone. He's selling books.
This is an iPhone.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you very much.
Appreciate
How long for you and how much time do you?
Let's do 8 minutes minimum.
That was good. That was good, huh? That was entertaining.
Yeah.
You know.